place with a 5,000-year-old living civilization. Welcome to Multan, the city of saints.
A city of many paths, all rooted in history, Multan dates back to the time of Alexander the Great. Surrounded by myths and legends, it is also said to be the landing site of Satan when he fell to earth. Perhaps, with saints being plentiful, the ultimate sinner could not be far behind. As the famous Persian saying implies, Gard Garma Goristan, Multan is known for its dust, heat and graveyards. But graver still is how the ravages of time are killing the very soul of Multan's history.
All the conquerors who used to come in this part of the world, they used to come to Multan. And then from Multan, they used to go to other parts of South Asia. And even what is described as that Islam spread from Multan is absolutely correct, that from Multan to Java, Sumatra, Islam went from here. And it was a seat of learning, a great seat of learning.
One of the oldest cities in the Asian subcontinent, Multan has been at the center of warfare because of its location on a major invasion route between South Asia and Central Asia. Multan Fort, the huge ancient complex, has seen many kings and empires rise and fall before its tough walls. The fort itself was destroyed by the British during the Raj, and now even its remains are crumbling down to dust. Despite seeing devastation at regular intervals, it retains an indelible mark as one of the few living civilizations spanning 5,000 years. When I started the journey, I was looking forward to seeing this cradle of civilization, particularly the shrines of famous saints, which give the city one of its many identities. Sadly, the dilapidated state of these shrines had much to dampen the spirit. One of such shrines is that of Shah Shams Tabriz, where people from all over the country come to pay tribute. Interestingly, the caretakers of the tomb are also the descendants of the saint.
मज़ार की हालत इतनी खस्ता हो चुकी है कि किसी वक्त भी कोई हादसा हो सकता है। आप चार दीवारी देखें तो उसमें भी जो है ना वो खम पड़ चुका है। आप अंदर की जो बरामदे हैं उनमें देखें तो वो शतीर कड़ियाँ जो हैं वो पुरानी वो सारी जगह जगह से डैमेज हो चुकी हैं। बरामदे जो हैं वो सारे खस्ता हो चुके हैं। अब फर्श जो हैं वो नकारा हो चुके हैं। तो मुझे बताएं कि ये महकमा औकाफ ने क्यों बनाया गया था, किस मकसद के लिए बनाया गया था। ये तो इस महकमे को बनाया गया था कि ये बेहतर से बेहतर यानी दरगाह और मसाजिद की खिदमत करेगा, लेकिन इसने तो ये मुँह बोलता सबूत है। ये जो खस्ता हाली है दरबार शरीफ की, महकमा औकाफ की अदम तवज्जो और नाकामी का मुँह बोलता सबूत है, आप देख सकते हैं।
Makhdoom Sayyid Tariq Abbas Shamsi, the heir of the saint, says the mausoleum draws about 1.5 million rupees a month in the form of offerings. But that is taken by the Awqaf administration, which insists that the money is spent on the preservation of these monuments.
ये तमाम जो भी इनकम होती है मुख्तलिफ सोर्सेस से वो हेड ऑफिस लाहौर में वो जमा होती है, उसके बाद फिर वो वहीं यूटिलाइज तरीक़ेकार के मुताबिक होती है, जिसमें सैलरीज होती हैं और इसके अलावा कोई मेंटेनेंस ये जैसे मज़ारात पे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के अखराजात या मेंटेनेंस के अखराजात वो उसमें पूरे किए जाते हैं.
The shrine was built in 1718 AD. The 30 feet high square tomb is topped by a hemispherical dome. It was once decorated with ornamental glazed tiles, of which only traces are visible now. The descendants of the great saint fear if proper measures are not taken to preserve the tomb, it will not survive for long.
You know, due to some miserable condition, our government should do something about shrines. And it's our religious culture. Whenever we go over there, we got spiritual and mental satisfaction. So our government should do something about the condition of shrines.
Don't put all the responsibility only on the government shoulders that they have to take care. But it's the responsibility and duty of our citizens and people that they should have to take care of their assets to show all the world.
Festival and celebration used to be a regular feature in the backyard of the mausoleum, but that was 8 years ago. This 48 canal ground originally belongs to the descendants of Shah Shams Tabriz and was used for the Urs festival of the great saint. It is now filled with dirty water that is creating disease amongst the residents of the area. There are about 150 registered shrines in Multan, most of them in a condition of decay. Legends surround many of them. According to one, Shah Shams Tabriz performed many miracles. Popular one purports him to have implored the sun to come down, and when it did, the fish he held in his hands was roasted. To this day, the locals relate the heat of Multan to the incident. The heat of Multan has almost assumed a legendary status, but the cauldron of heat produces a variety of mangoes in Multan. The land is covered in miles with ripe and juicy mangoes as dusty winds of summer blow in this land of mystics.
Mangoes are a large portion of Multan's export. The city is famous for its mango season. Though it becomes quite hot for the non-regional visitors, at the same time, it is definitely worth an international flight.
Even before entering the city, one cannot miss the mango farms that belong to the landlords of this ancient city. They stretch on both sides of the road on the outskirts of the city. And it is this fruit that has inspired the century-old art of blue pottery, commonly known as Kashigari. It is believed here that the flow of the painter's hand creates the form of a mango while working on this traditional art. Ustad Alam, a renowned local artist, believes that in the rat race, people are overlooking their past. He fears that this traditional art is fading with time.
खुदारा आर्टिस्ट से तो कोई मशवरा लिया नहीं जाता है जी, तो दूसरे लोगों जिनका इनसे ताल्लुक ही नहीं, अब ये एक चौक है, उसके ऊपर हमारा विरसा होना चाहिए, वहाँ पर कार्टून का क्या मतलब है, वहाँ का कार्टून का क्या ताल्लुक उससे, वहाँ चूहे का कार्टून लगा हुआ है, क्या हम यहाँ पहले चूहे रहते थे?
But Ustad Alam, who got this gift from his ancestors, has managed to make a cottage industry in his little home.
Ustad Alam has dedicated his whole life to save the art of blue pottery. He has handed over this legacy to his 6 sons, who will now take it forward. It is not the monetary benefit that they seek, but the preservation of their generational gift.
To keep the art alive, Ustad Alam has used it on almost all sorts of kitchenware and decoration pieces.